Coach, sixth final, 6 years. A lot of people might look at the build up to this and think that with the sixth time, it's easy for you and for the team to get ready since it's pretty much a yearly occurrence. But obviously knowing the difficulty of getting to this stage, how do you prepare for a sixth straight final, given the history that you yourself and the team has?
Yeah, I think most importantly is history just helps in the preparation and the minds of the players, but the rest of it is just the normal business. It's a game in front of us. What's happened in the past is irrelevant when it comes to the actual game and the 90 minutes. What it does is it gives familiarity to the players with what it looks like coming up to the week of the match, you know, how you deal with certain situations in the game, but then each game is different from there. Like I've said, you know, this is a week where you enjoy your football because this is the last week of football together in a competitive way for the team. This team has accomplished a lot this year, but we're still hungry for a little bit more tomorrow.
Charlie? Oh, no, keep on.
And then we were talking to Tommy and to Calvary, and they were talking about how special it is to have this final at Spruce Meadows. Does the venue take any sort of factor for yourself and for the team, knowing that you're playing in Calvary's ground for the final for the first time since 2019?
Yeah, I think whoever hosts the final should be special. You're playing in front of your fans and in front of what should be a good atmosphere. And the one thing we always want, and I've said from the beginning in 2019, of being in this league, is we want good atmospheres to play in. It doesn't matter if that's ours or it's the opponents. I think that gives energy to the players. I know as a coach, I look forward to it. You know, when we get to play away against big crowds, whether that's Halifax here or anywhere else in the league, I think that gives you a lot of energy as a team to go out there and try and be your best.
Bobby, you speak a lot about the consistency and the identity you've built at this club over the last 6 years, but what is different about the football club you're leading into this game tomorrow versus the one you had in the final last year?
Yeah, I think this team has been much more consistent over the season. You know, much more consistent, much more battle challenged. I've talked about last year, you know, it costing us being the first year we never played in a CONCACAF competition. Those external games in different environments and atmospheres, I think, are something that drive this club. Why is that? Maybe because we had that taste as we were a club of 4 months old back in 2019 for us, the staff and all the players. And I think that's a big component to what we do. That stability in our play this year, good performances in Champions Cup, an excellent run in the Canadian Championship with some very good performances. I think that kept the fuel going. And that was something that was a little bit lacking last year, although the quality was there. That motivation of something different other than playing for a trophy in this league, and I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but players have to find motivation from different ways. And we've been able to find that stability, put a target on the shield this year, with it being the second year of that being awarded in our league, and something we weren't happy about last year. So we put that target forward. And then obviously you always want to be playing in this final game.
Hey, Bobby, you know, Para is back after his suspension, and you know, it's a tough assignment out there with Ali Musi. But as you know, he can get forward. He can also make him defend. How important is it, some of those things he does on the ball, to maybe help him 1v1 in that sort of battle?
Yeah, I think the most important thing with players like them is you try and keep them off the ball as much as possible. You know, you find different ways to make them do things that they're not comfortable with on the pitch. So if we can make him defend a little bit more than he likes to, that keeps him further from goal. I'm guessing coaches use that strategy all around with different players, including ours. So, you know, we look at things globally, not so much on individual players, but more on zones of the pitch we want to keep our opponent away from in certain situations, and that's something we'll try and implement tomorrow.
Bobby, last year Tommy was in your shoes when he'd won the Shield, and then obviously had to, you know, flip the script a little bit this year with you in a different way. He came into the final last year and he called it a bonus. Would you call this a bonus based on your year?
Yeah, no, I think you play the lottery to win the jackpot. You don't play for encore or whatever's next. So you come here and you play for the trophy that's at hand, and that's pretty simple. You know, our league is set up that the banner tomorrow will say champion. The banner 2 weeks ago didn't say champion. So that's the league. So there's no bonus. That's the trophy that's at hand, and that's what we play for.
Bobby, obviously 6 finals in a row is no small achievement. I think we're starting to enter the territory of one of the great Canadian sports stories in general. To does that start to weigh on you at all as far as the significance of the level of your accomplishment so far? And what would a trophy do to even further cement that for you guys?
Yeah, I don't think it weighs on us so much, other than it's something to be proud of. We know that's something tough to do in modern North American sport, where all across our sports there's salary caps and different things to make sure there's parity throughout all of the clubs. So I think that's what makes this special for us to be able to do what we've done over the past 6 years, because the system is not set up for that to occur. So that means we as a staff hopefully have been doing a good job. Our players have been doing a good job, and it's the continuity of our club, the ideals that we have, the culture we have, both on and off the field. I think that keep us striving for success, but not something that weighs on us, something that we're proud of, something that we don't take for granted. First word I use in our locker room is the word humble. We always start from a humble place, because nothing that you gain comes to you. It comes through the hard work, comes through respecting your opponents, each and every one. You always got to be on a good day to win in this league. You can't have a bad day and think that you're going to win a game, and that's one thing we've learned over time.
And to follow up on this, I think one of the things about, like, let's say, a big club around the world is their ability to maintain a standard, which is not easy to do. So I'm wondering maybe if you could give us some insight on what is that process like as a coach? How do you maintain a standard of, let's say, excellence or championship, like just even making finals consistently?
Yeah, I think what players enjoy is football. We're part of this game, and we can talk about everything off the field, but the most important thing is we spend an hour to an hour and a half each day on the pitch. That has to be an excellent environment. That has to be an environment that allows the player to get better, that is clear for the player, that is enjoyable. The football that you're going to play is enjoyable, because I think just talking globally, you can get a team to defend for 1 year and do all of these things, and you can win that way. It's not long lasting. I think what we preach and what we try and do at the club, it's not perfect on the pitch. It's something that the players enjoy. So if you do that, coupled with making sure that as a coaching staff, your effort is going to try and always be more than your players, you're always pushing them to their limits. And when you push them there, the limits get a little bit higher. You get them to keep on going. And I think that's one thing that we've been able to do. These guys push me each and every year to come up with new ideas, to make sure I evolve, to make sure our coaching staff evolves, to make sure our tactics evolve through the principles of what we like. And I think that keeps them motivated enough.
And one more, Bobby, if you don't mind. Last time you were here in a final, I think your group was very young, and there was that inexperience, but now that core group returns, having gone through 6 years of consistency and excellence. So I'm wondering, what can you take from the group that you've now established, and what are your impressions of the younger group that's coming through, being able to experience this maybe for the first time as well?
Yeah, I think that's something that we always try and build and try and plan through. I've talked in the past that we've built this team through 3-year cycles. So if you do the math, this is the end of the second cycle of 3 years, and so far it's been going well. And part of that is making sure that the young players that are coming in, some are going to be excellent and ready to play right away. Other ones are going to take a little bit of time, but through that process, they're going to have the experience of playing in these games, of being in these environments, whether it's CONCACAF, Canadian Championship type of games, and then playoff games in the CPL. And that makes them stronger as they go forward. Examples of that are Malcolm Duncan, who, to be honest, rarely played last year, and this year's been an excellent player for us, an excellent player in the league all around. So I think it's part of the way we plan with things, and that's the importance of the young players. Some are going to get it right away, some it's going to take some time, but development's not linear.
Hey, Bobby, a couple questions for me. One, the fitness of certain players. Borges didn't play last weekend. Is he ready to go, play 90? Same thing with Para, hasn't played for a month. Is he fit to play 90? And Taron Campbell as well, because haven't had that number 9. Is he fit enough to play, see the field at all?
Yeah, so everyone is ready and available, and minutes-wise, that's always a different thing. This is a game that doesn't have a tomorrow. You don't say, okay, how can I spot a player some minutes here so I can get him ready for next week? These are games where the most ready players play. And then from there, you see where you can impact the game coming off of the bench. So everyone's available to us. Everyone's available in different levels as well with some of those guys. Taron has played a whole of 3.5 games for us this year. And this guy has scored the most goals in this league, and he hasn't played a season this year. But he's been good in training. He's always good around the goal, and there's a situation always for players off the bench that'll be needed.
Last week you played a lot deeper than we've typically seen you play. Is that a symptom of not really having a number 9 that you can rely on right now? And how do you approach that? Does it make you a little bit nervous heading into the final that there's a position where in the past you really haven't had a question about?
No, the approach last week had nothing to do with no number 9, but it had to do with pulling a team out of their comfort zone on the other side of the ball and closing things and getting some of their very good players away from dangerous spots on the field, which was done very well up until we've scored the goal, and then dynamics in playoff games changes. So, that's the way I look at the games in these situations. Not so much what we don't have, but you want to neutralize some things. Sometimes you have to flip the script. We've been here before. Sometimes we played a lot of football in finals, and there's been games where we haven't played any at all. Because in the end of the day, what I've learned about these games is the only thing we remember is who's won at the end, and that's what you want to look at. So, we've come up with an idea and a plan for tomorrow. That we're flexible. We can do both at different stages of the game, and we'll see how things go.
Lastly, this is a year you beat 2 MLS teams. You won the Canadian Premier League Shield. But just hearing how important tomorrow's game is tomorrow, if you don't win, can you still call this season a success? Is it make or break in terms of being a successful season for you, winning tomorrow?
No, I don't think it's not a success. It's when you leave the last day and you haven't won that game, there's going to be disappointment, of course. Do we need to win the trophy tomorrow? No, we've got a few back at home, but we want to. We want another one. To have this trophy, at least till now, you have to kind of go through Forge. That's something we take a lot of pride in. That's why we're here. So it's not a matter of that, hey, we're going to be okay if things don't go well tomorrow. Everyone in the room wants it. Everyone in the room is ready for it. But yeah, of course, there's been success this year. But in 2021, we did a lot of that same stuff outside in semifinals of CONCACAF and different things. But it would have been a much better feeling lifting a trophy into the last game of the season.
You guys have been in so many finals at this point. Does playing these big games, playing these games become a habit? Is there a certain familiarity with the big stage that kind of helps you guys?
I think it's like anything in life. When you go through something, you can draw on that experience. Obviously, the lead up to these games, there's a little bit more noise. The stuff you kind of dreamed about as a kid, so it's exciting. But ultimately, it just comes down to the game. Ultimately, finals are kind of crap when you really look at it. It's you look to moments for sure when guys do something special, but it's really just about who's willing to do what on the day and get it done. It comes down to little details and effort. But yeah, when you play in these over and over and over, you draw on those experiences of those feelings that you have going into it, just to kind of calm yourself down, know what to expect and what to look forward to.
Alessandro, for yourself, you're going in to try and win a 4th straight one of these. How do you kind of personally continue to motivate when you're in these big games, you're going into these finals, when you know that you've done it so many times before?
I think when you win it, it actually motivates you a little more. I think you want that feeling over and over again. And obviously playing with such good players, you see the quality that we have and the opportunity that we have, and you don't really want to do anything other than win. It's kind of contagious, so it becomes easier in my opinion.
Hey, Kyle, obviously you were part of that Forever First group that came here and won in 2019. You just got off the pitch. I'm wondering how it's holding up. I know you're no stranger to cold weather football, and we're actually maybe in the double digits tomorrow, but just how's the grass out there?
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's better than we all probably expected or worried what it could have been on a day in November like this. But the weather's fantastic. It's a good grass pitch, and hopefully it holds up tomorrow.
I'd like to ask both of you, if I may, and maybe I'll start with you, Ali. We asked Shamit Shom earlier just about what makes this opponent, and in your case specifically, the midfield, such a jigsaw puzzle. What do you enjoy about this matchup, and how would you describe the group of midfielders you're going to play tomorrow?
I think first off, Calgary is always a very combative team. I think that's the hardest thing to play against in the midfield. You always want to play football on the ground, but sometimes it becomes a battle. I think that's the biggest thing. You have to earn the right to play. I think then they just have quality players in the midfield that can move the ball around. I think they're a good team in possession, and that obviously goes through the midfield a lot. So we just have to be prepared to suffer sometimes off the ball, and then when we have it, do what we can with it.
Kyle, Tim?
Yeah, I think they do a decent job of creating overloads, and they have guys who are dynamic, and when you have guys who are a little bit of a game changer, it just means you have to pay that much more attention, right? They have things that they clearly work on week in and week out, and when they're firing, it's very effective, so we have to be ready for that.
Thank you both.
Kyle, my question here for you is you've been through this final, you've played this team many times, you've been at home and have had success there, but now you're heading into a hostile environment. Somewhere you've had success, of course, here at Spruce Meadows. So for you, what is that like to kind of maybe throw in that villainous role, if you will, and help your team see if you can succeed on Saturday?
I don't really know if you can be the villain if you're winning all the time. I think it's kind of flipped there, no? But we as a collective have had success here, and I'm a byproduct of that. I'm not a guy who can come in here and say, I'm just going to dribble everyone. That's not my strong suit, so I feed off the guys and the good players that we have in the room, and when we're playing as a collective, I think we are a very good squad. Obviously, this is a fun place to play. It's a good venue. They have fantastic support. They've had fantastic support since 2019, and it's great to play in these games. These are what you want to do, right? These guys love to cheer for me, so I'm sure Saturday will be no different.
Maybe just a quick follow-up. It's what about this series, this team, this environment that brings the best out of you?
I don't know. I think there's just the competitive games that you want to play in. I'm someone, I kind of pride myself on my engine. That's something that gives me success over the years, and I know when I'm kind of moving and I have that good feeling in the game that as the game goes on, I know that I'm going to find myself an opportunity, and that's something that's worked for me in the past, and hopefully keep going.
Kyle, Tommy admitted that they may have the rights to be favourites based on playing at home and how well they played lately and beating you a couple of weeks ago. Who do you think are the favourites?
I mean, we got a few more trophies than they do, so I feel like it's us. But ultimately, they've had a fantastic season. They beat us a few weeks ago. They're hosting the final, and if that's what they think, then take it. I mean, as Bobby said, I think the pressure's on them, to be honest. We have 4 of these at home. This is our 6th final. We can lose and we'll be all right. It's not the intention of anyone in the room by any means. It's a big game. We're looking forward to it, but we're kind of playing with house money at the moment, so we'll see.
Just to follow up, Alessandro, to you, you're trying to win obviously a 4th in a row. What does this club mean to you when you came over, and what did you realize right away that has allowed you to continue to play in games like this?
Yeah, it took me about a week of being at the club to kind of knew it was the right decision. I think that's the easiest way to put it. I came over, saw the quality in all facets of the club, the players, the coaches, the facility, the ability to play in these games, and the experience they have in these games. I think at the end of the day, you always want to play with the best team, and I think that's what we've become. That's what this team is. That's what this club is, and they keep pushing the standards. We keep pushing the standards, and tomorrow's another big game for that.
Alex.
Hey, Alessandro, for you first. Both teams love to hold the ball, the 2 top possession teams in the league. Yourself as a DM who gets on the ball a lot, does that excite you knowing that you can get your foot on the ball a lot early? That's good for the team. That's good to kind of get an early edge in that battle?
Yeah, I think obviously whoever has the ball can score. I think that's the main thing of having the ball. I think possession is kind of a stat that kind of goes both ways. I don't know if it's necessarily the one that decides the game, but if you have the ball, then you're creating chances. I think as a midfield, we do have players that can create with the ball, so that helps us. And as the number 6, that's my job to kind of get the ball from defenders and kind of go forward from there. So we're going to try to keep the ball, try to create chances is the most important thing, and from there we'll see how it goes.
Kyle, we've seen a lot of evolutions in your game through the 6 years in the league, and this year we really see you dominate that left side of midfield. Against Cavalry, their right side's quite aggressive. You kind of looking forward to making some of those late runs and trying to maybe take advantage of those spaces?
Yeah, absolutely. We know we've had success with late runs in the box. If we continue to get in those half spaces, the extended half spaces in that final third, that we're going to have success. That's something we pride ourselves on, and we know if we do over and over and over, we're going to give ourselves a better opportunity to score goals. And that's the responsibility of the 8 and the 10 in our the way that we play. So, yeah, have to do it. Have to be able to be ready to put in a big shift. As you said, they have a fantastic right side of the field that's created a ton for them this year, and yeah, it should be fun.
Anyone else?
The footballer sitting beside you has now gone to 6 finals in a row. I'm starting to think, a Canadian sports story that might be a little unprecedented. So my question to you is Is Kyle Becker perhaps the most underrated captain in Canadian sports right now?
Right now, I think overall in the last 6 years, yeah. I think he's an underrated player. I think in the grand scheme of Canadian football, I don't think you find many players that can use their left and right foot as easily as he can. I think as a person off the field, I think that's why he has the armband in our team. Obviously the quality oozes, but the person off the field, the leader in the locker room is beyond that. I think we're very lucky, this club has been very lucky to have him, and we just hope to help him in his last final years playing to lift a couple more trophies.
Well, Kyle, on that note, I mean, 6 finals in a row. Are you circling like, I don't know, maybe 10 in a row before you start considering it?
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to enjoy it while it lasts. I've said it a few times in the lead up to this game, finals aren't guaranteed. I know it sounds a little like a bit of a broken record with us, but everyone at the start of every single season has the same goal. We've just been very lucky, and definitely I'm grateful to be in as many as that we've been in, and just want to kind of soak it all in.
Bex, this one's for you. What's the tactical component that you feel needs to be present tomorrow to make sure you're lifting that trophy?
Yeah, I think we got to be smart in the middle of the field. It's no secret when they press, they throw a lot of numbers at the ball. They're aggressive, they're on the front foot, and if we're sloppy in the middle of the field and create a little bit of a sort of counterattack opportunities for them when we're stretched, that it can become a little bit of a game of chance, really. So I think we got to be smart in our build-up, take advantage of those wide spaces, and definitely try and play our football in their half.
And then last question for me, just you love to creep on the left side, hated playing against you because of that, because you found yourself on the touchline. How rejuvenated do you feel now having Para and Benny Bedabanga on that left side to just partner with now?
Yeah, I think we've shown over the course of the season that this team, unlike teams in Forge's past, we have a little bit more depth and just a ton of creative weapons throughout the lineup. So I think when you've seen guys step in who haven't really been playing much, we throw a little something different at it, which is an incredible thing for us to have, right? We can throw different options, different teams, keep guys on their toes, whether it's Malik playing on the left, center back, Daniel playing, Benny playing up top as a 9 on the wing, wherever it may be. We've shown that we can throw a few different things at teams to keep them on their toes. So I'm confident whoever we're playing with that we'll be able to get the job done, however we line up and whatever the formation is.
Go ahead, Mitchell.
Just for you, Kyle, obviously it's the first time the league there's teams won the regular season and then you could actually go and win the final. What does that say about the consistency of the team this season?
Yeah, listen, winning a 28-game season is definitely easier said than done. There's a ton of up and downs. A lot of things have to go your way. Through the duration of a season, everyone goes through so much, like the ebbs and flows of the individual, the collective, the staff, everything. It takes a lot of buy-in to do it. Anyone who does it, obviously, tip my hat to them because it's a lot, right? And to be able to do that, give ourselves the opportunity to play in Champions League next year is huge. Obviously, it was a goal for us at the beginning of the season, so to come together as a collective and do that and have that buy-in throughout the season is massive. Obviously, now we're looking forward to doing something no one's done yet, and we'll see what happens.
Just a final one for me. You both were nominated last night for Player of the Year. Your teammate, Tristan Board, just won it. Just wanted to give you both an opportunity to tell us why he was the worthy winner.
He's just what a player, man. The season he's had, he said it himself yesterday. I think for those who've been in the league, you saw what he was capable of in 2019. I think he goes over to Europe. It didn't necessarily work out, and people will probably make their own opinions and assumptions of why or how that happened. And I think as an individual, it's always tough to pick yourself up after things don't necessarily go your way. And to see him come back in and the work that he's put in, building off what he did last year, you saw like sparks of it, moments, and to put it all together and show the quality that he still has and the belief that all of us players have in him in the locker room, it's fantastic. So I think it's more than deserving that he won it. He was the player of the year for me, without a doubt. I think anyone on our team would have said the same thing. Watching him week in and week out in training has been fantastic, and to see him playing with a smile on his face and a little bit of that chip on his shoulder that he had before that we all knew is great.
You can't add much more than that, but I'll say we scored 45 goals. He had 15 goal contributions. That's almost a third of all our goals. I mean, special player, scores big goals for us, big moments, and wins us games. I think that's the player of the year right there.